book lovers. Today's book review is going to be an oldie but goodie, because I do not want to discount any of my old books, even though I seem to lately have a plethora of new ones. So, my first book review is going to be The Witching Hour by Anne Rice. This is part of her Mayfair Witch trilogy. It came out, I believe, in 1992. I read it like 16 years ago originally and loved it as a teenager. It was one of my favorite books. I had read all of her vampire novels prior to reading the witching books, but I enjoyed all of the above. And The Witching Hour had always stuck with me, and I remembered it being one that I really, really loved. I started Audible a year ago with the Harry Potter books. I had read the Harry Potter books when I was younger, when they all came out. I owned all of them, saw all the movies, but I had heard good things about the Audible books with Jim Dale. I listened to all the Harry Potter books. I listened to the All Souls trilogy, which is a trilogy by Deborah Harkness that I knew that I already loved, so I knew what I was getting there. And I listened to The Historian by Elizabeth Kostovia. That's a nice, thick book, so I knew I'd be getting my money's worth as well there. And then I think I finally tried something new, which was The Alchemist by Michael Scott, and I wasn't a big fan of it. And I didn't know if I wasn't a big fan of it because it was my first Audible book of a book that I had not read, or if it was just the book. It was a little harder to tell because I didn't have the book in front of me to really judge properly. I think that kind of messed with my brain. I didn't know how to even tell how I didn't like it. So that was something different. But so after that, I didn't pick any Audible books of books that I hadn't read before. So I came upon The Witching Hour, nice 60-hour long book. Definitely get your money's worth. I loved it as a teenager, so I chose that. And it was terrible. The first couple hours of it were excruciating. I even questioned why I liked this as a teenager. How could this have been one of my favorite books and it be as bad as it is? And then finally around chapter 4-ish, bam! It got back onto its normal track and turned into the book that I love and remember. So I'm so happy that it ended up getting so much better, because it was terrible there for a little while and was questioning my sanity. The plot is about an old New Orleans family that has a good bit of money and a haunted and secretive past. Enter modern day Superwoman, the main character, Rowan Mayfair. She gets reintroduced to all of her family in New Orleans because she had grown up in California and wasn't aware that she had the multitude of family that she did in New Orleans. So this is her inheriting the legacy and also the ghost that comes with it. I was saying the characters are not typical witches. It's a different type of witch family. There is telepathy in their history. Don't want to delve too far into that because that is part of the actual book, but it's just not your typical set of witches. So, and the main characters, I really did love. The female lead is very strong and smart and talented. I liked a lot of the sub-characters too. The Mayfair family is, well, they're a little off. They're very admirable as well. They treasure family very much so. So they're a nice, strong family that I loved being able to read about. The pacing of the book started off slow, like I was saying, picked up with a chronology. Really loved that part. Had lots of ups and downs. The ending had a nice big surprise, which I remembered as soon as I started reading it, and that was a bummer because I wish I could have heard it new and experienced it again. That would have been nice. But no, as soon as the scene started, I remembered exactly what happened. It was, yeah, a very interesting scene at the end there. The setting is in New Orleans, which I adore. I love the culture and the people. They're wonderful. The food is amazing. Whoa! 10 stars there. And also, talking about the setting, my wonderful husband took me to New Orleans for an impromptu, outing trip, just a day in the city. And on the way there, I remembered I thought of going to see the house on First Street, which is where the book is centered, is this house in the Garden District in New Orleans. And we got to New Orleans, to the Garden District. I got us to First Street via the map, and my blood sugar dropped. He was driving, so no worries there, but I'm the mapper. So we parked and walked all the way up and down First Street, taking pictures of all the houses. He kept telling me to Google the house, and I just couldn't get my phone to work. I don't know. Siri wasn't listening to me. I wanted her to, do what I told her to do, and finally, later, we're eating lunch. My blood sugar comes back up. I Google it for real, and it gives you the exact address of the house. I was so bummed. I had taken pictures of, almost every house but that house. So, my lovely husband took me back, a month later, and we went and took official pictures of the First Street house. So, I have those to share with you. It was super exciting. It was creepy. I felt like you're not supposed to be there. The house doesn't belong to Anne Rice anymore. It has been sold to a new owner. So I did feel like I was intruding upon their space. Even though I stayed in the street, I didn't get anywhere near the house. It still felt a little bit intrusive, which in turn made it feel a little bit scary, which was awesome. So my favorite part of this book was the Mayfair family. I loved how all of them wanted to help Rowan so much. They knew what she was going to be going through. They all paid very special attention to her. They all cling together, which I love, that family works that way in a time of crisis. And that was one of my favorite parts of the book. My dislike of the book is definitely all the incest. It's not something we're used to these days. It's not something that we're exposed to. So to read about so much incestual relationships going on was a little bit creepy, a little hard to take. It's not told in a first person situation, so it's easy to gloss over, I found. I also was a little bit unhappy with the romance between the two main characters. They had this instant love going on, which is nice. That would be nice, but that's not reality. And I don't know. There was just something about that bugged me a tiny, tiny bit. So I didn't like the instant love. I did love both of those main characters, even though I didn't super love their instant romance. I am a big fan of this book. If you're going to try and give it a go, make sure to hang in there, or the first couple chapters, because they can be a little bit rough. So hang in there. It'll get better, and then it gets wonderful. It's definitely one for the books. So thank you so much.